right. So a few years ago, after leaving a marriage of 6 years, I returned to Boulder, my hometown. A lot of my friends had moved away. So much had changed, and I was lonely as hell. I found myself at a crossroads. I had a choice to either dwell in the past and be miserable, or to step out of my comfort zone and redefine what joy and happiness meant to me. So I did what any other divorced 35-year-old former U.S. Marine who grew up in a hippie family in Boulder, Colorado would do. I got baked. No, I got into baking. Sorry. Let me take a step back and tell you how all this got started. My friend and I were eating brunch one day, and there was this guy sitting at a table next to us, drinking out of a giant jar of iced coffee with about a pound of whipped cream on top of it. I asked her, I said, "That looks good. I want that for breakfast." No, I want a whole cake for breakfast. She said, "No, Gabe, no. Normal people want a real breakfast. They want pancakes and eggs and bacon, and they're not going to eat a cake for breakfast." Challenge accepted. So over the next 10 hours, we designed and baked breakfast. This was my first cake. Looks real. Yeah. And it was delicious. So Elise, my clever scientist friend, explained how baking at altitude was unique, and that the dry climate meant that we had to add more water or eggs to the recipe and less sugar and baking powder, and that baking temperatures needed to be increased, otherwise baking times needed to be increased or sometimes doubled. So with her knowledge of baking and chemistry and my ability to make everything a little bit more complicated, we continued to work. Using a small round cake pans, fondant, and food coloring, I made the pancakes and the bacon and the eggs. I was even able to use edible food coloring diluted with vodka, of course, to add the shine and the color variations of the blueberries, the charred bacon, and the melted butter. There was a problem, though. I was hearing a voice inside my head that was telling me that I shouldn't be the one doing this because I wasn't an artist. I can't paint, I can't even draw. In fact, this is a sketch of what the breakfast cake was supposed to look like. I need to work on my drawing skills. So although I didn't consider myself an artist, I was able to cut the project into bite-sized pieces that were easily digestible for me. And I made my breakfast cake. And in the process, I discovered that I really enjoyed baking. So this was an amazing journey for me, and not only about learning how to bake cakes and desserts, but also about finding a little bit of joy and happiness. I made 250 cake pops for a charity event, and I'll get back to that. So I bake all my recipes from scratch, from lemon blueberry to cappuccino and dark chocolate hazelnut. They're all delicious. Some of them are vegan, some of them were gluten-free, and I made 250 cake pops for a charity event and found that people loved the ones shaped like ice cream cones and Han Solo frozen carbonite more than my cake pop shaped like poop emojis. I made cakes for my nieces and nephews and enjoyed how they first cut off the head and then the legs of a giant Lego character. Look at those savages. So I rarely tell people that I'm baking in advance because I've had so many failed attempts that I don't want to let anybody down. And it's also still that little voice inside of my head that has me convinced that I'm not an artist, so I shouldn't be doing this. But I've made some beautiful and delicious cakes, and that's a good start. So over the past few years, I've found a passion in not only something that brings me joy and happiness, but also brings a smile to the face of my friends and family and even complete strangers. So now I'm challenging each of you to go out this weekend and try something new, especially if it's something that you've been telling yourself you're not supposed to be doing. You might find that creative side of you, and if you surround yourself with friends and people who care for you, you'll be able to find that joy and define your own happiness. So go out and bake your cake and eat it too. Thank you.